something important for them. God's present in those moments. One other analogy, because you can only speak about existentialism through analogy. You can't really put it into words. How many of you have ever listened to a piece of music? And when you begin, you know what the song is. You probably know pretty much what the melody sounds like. You know what the time is, 2/4 time, 3/4 time. And for the first few seconds to minutes, you're aware of the fact that you're listening. And at some point, almost like what happens when you fall asleep at night, where you go from consciousness to not aware, you lose track of the fact that you're listening to the music. And you simply, in your existence, are transported to another level where you think your own thoughts and deal with your own issues. Has that ever happened to you? Or how many times have you walked down the street and for days or weeks you keep trying to figure out the answer to a problem and you can't figure it out? And you'll be walking down the street, or you're in the shower, or you're on the pot, anywhere, and suddenly, boom, it comes to you. The existentialists would say, God is present in those moments. The same with a beautiful sunset. So, what happens here is there is a God. God is there personally, but at the same time, God is there in the meeting between two humans, between a human and nature, and in those momentary seconds, something magical happens. It can be a very difficult situation. My oldest son has severe asthma. He's now almost 40, but he has severe asthma. And as a kid, I once drove 90 miles an hour to get him to the hospital, and he turned blue and stopped breathing right next to me on the seat. And I still to this day remember pulling up to the emergency room, grabbing him off of the seat next to me, and going in and yelling, God, please help me. In that moment, God answered my prayer, whether Stephen would have made it or not. The mere fact of asking for help, to me, was the answer to my prayer that I didn't feel alone. Now, in all these examples, how do I know that I'm not just talking to myself, that I'm not making up what I think I'm experiencing? And the answer is, I don't. And that's what the existentialists call existential risk. What you think is true may not even be true. But if it affects your life as though it is true, that's good enough. Now, I'm not trying to sell you on that. I'm trying to introduce you to a concept which is different from what you may have grown up with or what you may have moved to. One last example. My dad died a few months before my oldest son's bar mitzvah. Like any of you, I really would have wanted him to be there. For me, he was there. I mean, I knew he was dead, but nevertheless, he was there. So, I tell you about all of this because what's going to be very important as we talk about prayer is, where do you find yourself on this? Are you always a person who knows God in a personal way? Are you always a person who knows God as an idea or an impersonal force? Or are you someone who has some combination of these? Or are you a person where they go in and out? All of them are acceptable within Judaism, right?
Aren't you really talking about the concept of faith? Would that be another term to describe what you just said?
It would.
You didn't use it.
I didn't use it because I wanted to use existential risk. Because quite frankly, that's what faith is. And it's funny, the things that we think are true, because they are the truth of the eyes, or the truth of the ears, or one of the senses, that as the truth. And most of the time, it's pretty reliable. But when it really comes down to it, we operate a lot of our lives on the basis of existential risk, simply because it feels real to us. If it weren't for that, if it were pure logic, how many people would get married? How many people would have children? I mean, think about it. If it were pure logic, how many of you would get up in the morning and bother? Joe's going to die. Now, I'm not trying here to, depress you, but I'm just pointing out we live our lives on a level of truth that is very different from the kinds of truth that we know for certain to be absolutely true. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay. So these are all acceptable Jewish views of God. Now the next thing I'm going to attempt, so far so good, this is the history of Jewish worship. Before I do that, though, I want to do something that's not on this. And that is to point out to you that prayer and how effective it is and real to you depends on a very important question. And that is, what is the purpose of prayer? What is its intended objective? Who wants to try it? You can hear I'm theoretical today, but I want you to think theoretically, and then we're going to talk about the specifics of Judaism. Yes? Go ahead, multiple. You what? You express gratitude. But what's the purpose of that? Why do you want to express gratitude? No, you're afraid of something. Yeah, if you're not, I'm going to be real crass now, but we're going to be psychological here. If you're not saying thank you to God, and God really did something for you, and you didn't show appreciation, it's going to happen the next time. You see what I'm saying? What else what's the purpose of prayer? What's for you? Yes?
Harmony with the greater good.
Oh, so why do you pray? I mean, what does the prayer do?
So that I'm sending my best intent to be in harmony with what's supposed to be.
To who? To whom? To what?
To my understanding of the concept of God.
I'm kind of lost. So what do you want prayer to do? Be very specific.
To take an instance either in my life or for other people, to move it up to what's supposed to be happening.
So you want God to do that for you.
Sort of, kind of, not really.
Okay? Yes?
I'd say to keep it simple, spiritual fulfillment.
To fulfill a spiritual fulfillment. So your prayer, are you trying to get God to do something? Or are you trying to get yourself to do something?
Yes.
What?
Feel fulfilled spiritually, your mental side, spiritual side, physical side.
So you're trying to sensitize yourself to something? Okay, think about it. Yes?
I think it's just a constant reaffirmation of communication with God. If you're willing to communicate, then you're keeping the covenant and the relationship between you.
Well, what do you need that relationship for?
Goes back to trust and faith, I suppose.
I'm sorry, what?
Trust and faith.
Trust and faith. And if you don't keep up that relationship, then what?
It's like anything else you don't take care of. No way.
It will go away, or God being there to help you will go away. I'm asking it on, that to make sort of a point. Yeah,
Well, I think
that looks like Fern back there. Okay.
you're right. I think it's a spiritual connection or a way for you to fulfill maybe your own needs. Because, God is always there, whether you whether you pray or you don't pray, he's all, you know, in my belief anyway, he's always there for when you're ready to maybe reach out.
Okay, so you're saying that to you, prayer is sensitizing to yourself to the moments that God is present, so you're aware of it.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay. Others, yes.
It changes how I feel.
It changes how you feel. So it sort of changes you.
Yes.
Okay, as opposed to asking God to do something. Yeah?
I think that for me, mostly it's reminding myself of my own impotence and my dependence on God. And it relieves me of trying to figure it all out myself.
Okay. So again, this is prepping you for something. Okay. I'll take two more. Yes?
Relationship. I can talk to God, and He can talk to me, and I have my life, so that I can search for the middle of my life.
So you want to move God to do something for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And He does.
Okay. I believe you. Yeah.
When you thankful for God, let's say the plane that you have in the morning, and you're thankful for waking up in the morning, for God bringing you your spirit back. It's kind of for yourself. Because when you're repetitive on something, and you repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, the kind of gratitude is energize you. But it's like when people say that energy, certain energy brings certain energy, it's exactly the same.
Okay, so again, it opens you up to those moments. So an example I often use, said like an Israeli watchman. What I often say is, if I say to you that on your way back to your car tonight, there's going to be $100 bill on the ground, I'll bet you every one of you goes back to your car like this. Okay? It preps you. Okay, your answers are wonderful and they're all correct. But here's, I think you can see where I'm going. For people who tend to be in that left-hand side, where God is personal, prayer, the purpose of prayer is to move God to do something. If God for you is a concept or a force, then the purpose of prayer is to make you sensitive to that force around you. If you're an existentialist, the purpose of prayer is to open you, as Fern said, to those moments, because God is always there. The Hasidim used to say, ask the question, where is God? And the answer was, wherever you let God in. But if you're not open to let God in, God can't come. And I think a lot of us go through life unaware of some of those incredible moments. So I wanted to quickly go through that with you because I think it's important for you, as we talk about prayer and think about it, to have some sense of where and what prayer does for you, or where it takes you and what the goal is. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, let's take a look at Jewish prayer now specifically. Anybody lost, or are you all with me? No one seems to say they're lost. Okay, I'm going to really run through this fast because we don't have much time. But without understanding the evolution of Jewish prayer, you're not going to understand Jewish prayer today. Here, first of all, before 586 BCE, before the destruction of the first temple in Jerusalem, all worship occurred at Bimot, at high places, meaning places where the earth naturally was higher, because actually the early Jews believed that the higher up you were, the closer you were to God. And what you did